If you take a paper map of the three valleys, the largest interconnected ski area on the planet, and you place your finger dead center, right in the middle fold, where do you land?
You land in Méribel.
You land in the sweet spot, geographically, logically, and, I'd argue, emotionally.
It is the beating heart of the system, isn't it?
It is, and that position changes everything about your holiday. Think about it. To your left, you have the glitz and glamour of Courchevel, the oligarchs, the palaces, the Prada shops.
And to your right, you have the high-altitude, adrenaline-fueled moonscape of Val Thorens, the sporty side.
Exactly. But Méribel? Méribel is where you actually want to sleep. It's the sanctuary in the middle.
It's the Goldilocks zone. Not too posh, not too stark, just right.
Welcome to Season 1 of Transfer to Alps. I'm Liam.
And I'm Chloe. In this podcast, we don't just talk about skiing. We transport you to the mountains. We unpack the resorts, the hidden runs, and the local secrets so you know exactly what you're getting into.
And we are powered, as always, by Alps to Alps.
The experts in getting you from the airport to the snow.
And for this season, that transfer is literal. We are taking you into the thick of the action, because when you choose Méribel, you are choosing access. You are positioning yourself perfectly to ski 600 kilometers of piste without ever feeling trapped.
But Liam, before we get into the map and the logistics, can we just talk about the smell?
The smell?
Yes, the moment you open the car door in Méribel, it's different.
Ah, I know what you mean. It's the pine.
It's pine resin and wood smoke. It smells like winter.
That's because, unlike some of its neighbours, Méribel is actually below the tree line. You aren't in a frozen wasteland. You are in a forest.
And the architecture matches the forest. It's all wood and stone.
That is the first thing that strikes you. You drive up the valley and you expect to see those 1960s concrete blocks. You know the ones I mean. The big grey rectangles.
The human filing cabinets.
Exactly. But in Méribel, they just aren't there. It's pitched roofs, slate tiles, timber balconies. It looks like a picture on a biscuit tin.
It's the chocolate box dream. It feels incredibly cozy. It feels established. Like it's been there for 100 years.
Which is interesting because it hasn't. It was actually purpose-built, but it was built with a very specific vision.
A British vision.
A Scottish vision, actually. And that explains why, when you walk into a bar in Méribel, you are just as likely to hear a refined British accent as you are to hear French.
They call it Little England for a reason.
They do. And to understand why this French valley feels so much like home for us Brits, we have to go back to 1936, to a man named Peter Lindsay.
Peter Lindsay. That sounds distinctly Scottish, not Savoyard.
He was Colonel Peter Lindsay, a proper British gentleman and a serious skier. But back in the mid-30s, he didn't ski in France. Like most of the British elite, he skied in Austria, St. Anton, Kitzbühel. That was where the sport was born.
So what changed? Why move to a remote French valley?
Politics. It was 1936. The shadow of Nazi Germany was spreading. The Anschluss, the annexation of Austria, was looming. Lindsay arrived in Austria for his winter holiday, looked at the political climate, saw the flags changing, and thought, I can't ski here anymore.
He wanted a mountain without the fascism.
Essentially, yes. He wanted a new playground. So, he went to France. He teamed up with a French skier, Count Jean de Gaillard, and they started scouting. They were looking for a specific bowl, something that faced the right way, held the snow, but wasn't too steep for the average skier.
And they found the Alps Valley.
They found Méribel. But you have to imagine, Chloe, back then there was nothing. Just a few farmhouses used in the summer. No electricity, no roads, just snow and cows.
So he looked at this empty frozen valley and decided to build a resort from scratch?
He did, but, and this is the key difference, he didn't do it with government money.
Right, because a lot of French resorts like Les Menuires or La Plagne were built later in the 60s by the state.
Exactly. That was the Plan Neige. The French government said, "We need mass tourism," and they poured concrete to build huge resorts quickly. Boom! High-rise blocks, thousands of beds.
But Méribel was different.
Méribel was a private enterprise. Lindsay founded a company, brought in British investors, and built it slowly. He invited his friends. He invited the architects.
So it really was built by the British. For the British.
In the beginning, absolutely. It was a home away from home. That's why to this day, it feels like a little colony. You walk into the pubs and they serve toffee vodka. The ski schools are full of British instructors. The tabloids are in the newsagents.
It explains why it feels so comfortable for us. It doesn't feel foreign. It feels like a very snowy Surrey.
A snowy Surrey with better cheese. But because it was private money, Lindsay had total control over the aesthetic. He didn't want it to look like a city. He wanted it to look like Austria, the Austria he left behind.
So that's where the style comes from. He was recreating the Tyrolean village vibe.
Precisely. He laid down strict rules. No flat roofs, no visible concrete. Everything had to be clad in wood and local stone. And he stuck to it. Even as the resort grew into a giant, that architectural code remained sacred.
And thank goodness he did. Because when you compare it to some of the purpose-built factories next door, it's a different world.
It is. It grew organically. It wasn't a stamp on a map, it was a vision. And that vision created one of the most beautiful and strictest architectural landscapes in the Alps.
So, let's talk about that code. Because when you say strict, what does that actually look like on the ground?
It looks like the Savoyard style. It is an enforced aesthetic. If you want to build a hotel, a chalet, or even a bus stop in Méribel, you have to follow the recipe.
And the recipe is?
Slope your roof. Cover it in heavy local slate. Clad the walls in wood, usually larch or pine, and use stone for the foundations. And absolutely, under no circumstances, leave raw concrete exposed.
Which creates this incredible uniformity. It doesn't look like a resort that was thrown together. It looks like a village that grew out of the forest.
Exactly. And to appreciate why that matters, you just have to look at the neighbours. Let's look west to Les Menuires.
Oh, poor Les Menuires.
Now, don't get me wrong, the skiing in Les Menuires is fantastic, some of the best in the Vallée. But the architecture...
It's a concrete nightmare, let's be honest. It's those massive Soviet-style blocks we talked about earlier. It hurts your eyes.
It's functional, but it lacks soul. And then you look east to Courchevel 1850.
Which is beautiful, but in a very loud way.
It's the Disneyland of wealth. It's palaces, Gucci stores, heated pavements, and Michelin stars. It's stunning, but it can feel a bit intimidating, a bit synthetic.
And Méribel sits right in the middle. It's not a concrete jungle, and it's not a fashion runway. It's just cozy. It's Goldilocks again.
However, we need to clarify something for the listeners. Because when you go to book your holiday, you might get confused. You'll see Méribel Centre, and then you'll see Méribel Mottaret.
And they are not the same place.
They are not. They are distinct villages, separated by about 300 vertical metres and a winding road.
So, let's break them down. Méribel Centre, at 1,450 metres, is the original, right?
Correct. That is Peter Lindsay's vision. That is where you find the main shopping street, the famous bakery, the lively pubs like Le Pub and the Tavern. It's where the forest is thickest. If you want the classic chalet in the woods vibe, you stay in Centre.
But then, you have Mottaret.
Méribel Mottaret, sitting up at 1,750 metres. Now this was built later, in the 70s, and technically it is a satellite resort.
Usually satellite is a dirty word. In France, it usually means ugly.
But here, it's an exception. Because even though Mottaret is purpose-built for skiing, they kept the architectural rules. It's still wood-clad, it's still low-rise, It doesn't look like a city.
But the vibe is different. It feels more efficient.
That's the word. Mottaret is for the hardcore skiers. Almost every accommodation there is ski in and ski out. You step out of your door and you are on the snow. You are right next to the main lifts that shoot you up to the peaks.
So, if you are a group of friends who want to party and shop, you go to centre. If you are a family who wants to wake up and be on the lift in 30 seconds, you go to Mottaret.
Broadly speaking, yes. Centre is for the charm, Mottaret is for the convenience. But because of the free bus system, you aren't trapped in one or the other.
But regardless of which one you pick, you never get that feeling of being in an urban environment. You always feel like you are in the mountains.
And that is the genius of the Anti-Concrete Manifesto. It protects the atmosphere. But atmosphere is useless if the skiing is rubbish. Fortunately,
we are in the three valleys.
we are in the best spot of the three valleys. Let's talk about why the geography of Méribel is its secret weapon.
Secret weapon makes it sound very mysterious. But surely it's just looking at a map?
It is, but people don't read maps properly. They look at the piste count or the number of lifts, but they ignore the shape of the valley, and the shape is everything.
Because Méribel is the middle prong of the fork.
Exactly. Imagine the three valleys as a W. Méribel is the central V. This means you are the spider in the web.
I like that image. So, if I wake up and decide I want to go pose in front of the Gucci shop in Courchevel,
You take one lift, usually the Solaire Express. Boom! 20 minutes later, you are drinking overpriced hot chocolate in 1850.
and if the next day I feel energetic and want to go to Val Thorens to scare myself on a black run,
You go the other way. Up the Platière lift, drop over the ridge, and you are in the high Alpine.
so you never have that range anxiety. You know, when you stay in the far corner of a ski area and you spend half your day just commuting to get to the good stuff.
Precisely. If you stay in Val Thorens, getting to Courchevel and back is a full-day mission. You are constantly checking your watch. If you stay in Méribel, the whole map is your playground. You have the ultimate freedom.
But it's not just about where you can go. It's about the sun.
Ah, the solar strategy. This is crucial.
Because the valley runs north to south, right?
It does. It's a long, open valley running straight down. What that means in practice is that the sun hits the two sides of the valley at different times of the day.
So you can chase it.
You literally follow the sun. In the morning, you ski the Tugnet side, the western slopes that face east. They get the morning glory. The snow softens up nicely.
And then you have a nice long lunch.
Standard procedure. And in the afternoon, when the temperature drops, you switch to the Savoyard side. It catches the late afternoon rays. You are basically skiing in the light all day long.
Which sounds idyllic, but Liam, we have to be realistic. We are in the mountains. It is not always blue skies and sunshine.
Sadly true. We get storms. We get fog.
We get the dreaded jour blanc, the whiteout.
For the listeners who haven't experienced it, this is when the cloud comes down, the light goes flat, and you lose all depth perception. You can't tell if you are moving or standing still. The ground and the sky become the same colour.
And it is terrifying. And if you are in a high-altitude resort like Tignes or Val Thorens,
You are exposed. There is nothing above the tree line to give you definition. It's just white on white. People get vertigo. They panic. Usually, the lifts close or everyone retreats to the bar.
but this is where Méribel plays its ace card.
The trees.
The beautiful, contrast-giving trees.
Because Méribel has that lower section, specifically around the Altiport area, you have thousands of pine trees lining the pistes.
And in a whiteout, those trees are your best friends.
They give you contrast. You can see the edge of the run. You can see the gradient. The wind is lower because the forest protects you.
It saves the holiday, doesn't it? I've had weeks where the weather was awful, but because we were in Méribel, we could still ski all day in the woods. If we had been higher up, we would have been stuck in the hotel playing cards.
It's the ultimate safety net. It guarantees that no matter what the weather does, you can actually ski.
So, central access for the explorers, all-day sun for the fair-weather skiers, and the forest for the stormy days.
It really is the most versatile location in the Alps.
Versatile, yes. But let's be honest, Liam. It's not exactly a budget backpacker destination, is it?
No, it's not cheap, but it's not silly money either. I'd call it discreet luxury.
That's a good phrase.
If Courchevel is where you go to be seen spending money, wearing the fur coat and spraying the champagne, Méribel is where you go to actually enjoy it. It attracts a different crowd.
It's very old money. It's families who have been coming to the same chalet for 3 generations. It's big groups of university friends who are now in their 30s and 40s.
It's civilized, but that doesn't mean it's boring. We have to talk about the après.
The Ron Plate!
The Ronnie. It is legendary. If you haven't danced on the tables at the Rond Point at 4 p.m. in your ski boots, have you even been to the 3 Vallées?
I don't think so. It's an institution. Live bands, toffee vodka, and the sun setting over the valley. But the best part is, it feels friendly. It's not pretentious. You don't need a VIP table. You just need a pint.
And then you have to ski down afterwards, which is always entertaining to watch.
The wobbly run home, a classic Méribel tradition.
So if we had to summarize the personality of the 3 Vallées, how would you break it down?
Okay, Val Thorens is the gym. It's for the athletes. It's intense.
Agreed.
Courchevel is the catwalk. It's for the show. It's for the spectacle.
And Méribel?
Méribel is the living room. It's the soul. It's where you relax, where you connect, and where you feel most at home.
And for those who want a bit of everything, the sport, the food, the party, it's the only logical base. But
here comes the practical but.
Being in the center of the largest ski area in the world is great once you are there, but getting to that center, that can be a headache.
Because everyone has to squeeze through the same valley floor to get up there.
Mottaret, the bottleneck. In our next episode, we are going to tackle the logistics of getting to Méribel without losing your mind in traffic.
We're going to talk about airports, transfer times, and we are going to have a serious conversation about the train.
The train trap. Everyone thinks it's the easy option. We're going to explain why it might actually be the hardest way to travel if you don't plan it right.
So, if you want to start your holiday with a glass of champagne rather than a stress headache, make sure you tune in next time.
Subscribe so you don't miss it. The mountains are waiting, and we are here to help you reach them. This has been Transfer to Alps.
Powered, as always, by the team at Alps to Alps. We'll see you on the road.
Goodbye.